Hello, this is Shar from the Real Kitchen for Real People, and I'm trusting that everyone is staying safe and cool. Today we're going to feature peach pear cobbler. Yes, I said peach pear cobbler, and I will show you the ingredients that go into this fabulous cobbler. Okay, you're going to have a stick of butter, a cup of sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a tablespoon of nutmeg, a can of pear halves, and a can of peach halves. And you can get it in the natural juice or light juice or whatever you prefer. And then we're going to have vanilla, probably a teaspoon of vanilla. And what I will do first is I'm going to cook my pears and peaches together in this saucepan with my sugar and butter. And I'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, we're going to add this can of pears to the saucepan. And we're going to add this can of peaches to the saucepan. We're going to add the sugar to the saucepan. And we're going to add this stick of butter to the saucepan. This is real simple to make. I'm making the filling part first, and then I'll show you the crust. The crust is also on my site listed, but I will put the link below. Okay, so you put your stick of butter in there. Okay, and then I'm going to just about 3 teaspoons of 1 tablespoon of nutmeg, but I just sprinkle it in there. But just a little, don't overdo it on the cinnamon though. So that's pretty much all you put in there on the cinnamon. Now I will have the recipe listed in the description. And then you're going to put a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. Okay. Now what I'll do is cook this on top of the stove on medium heat until all of this has incorporated into your fruit. And your fruit will be a little bit softer once it's cooked. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the stove on medium heat. Okay, for my cobbler crust, I always like to use this Crisco shortening, and they come in these little squares, these little bars like this. And so what I want to do is take half of this bar, open it up, and I'm going to halfen this bar. And it has the markings on it, so it'll show you how much to use. This is a half. All I need is a half. And it'll make my bottom crust and top crust. I like both crusts. Some people make it with just the top crust, but my family is crust lovers, so we want the crust at the bottom and at the top. So you put that in the bowl, and then you're going to use a cup and a fourth of flour into your shortening bowl. Okay, before you add your flour to your shortening, in another cup, just add a few ice cubes and fill it up with water, cold water, because this you will have to add 2/3 of cups of this, not 2/3, excuse me, 1/3 cup of cold ice water. So I always set this aside while I'm mixing my flour, so it'll be real cold when I get ready to use it. Okay, I'm going to add my cup of flour first to the shortening bowl. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of flour to the shortening bowl. So that's a cup and a 1/4 of flour in this bowl. And this recipe will make a perfect crust for either cobbler or regular pie. It's just perfect. If you follow the instructions, you will have no problems making this crust for any pie. And then you want to add a little salt to your crust, a little dash of salt to the crust. And then I always add just a tinge of sugar so it won't be a little bitter. So it'll be about a teaspoon of little sugar there. Okay, now we're gonna mix this up until it's crummy. It'll be like little beads. So you just take a fork and just mash it until it gets beady looking. Okay, like this. Just mash it until it's completely beaded. Until your margarine is completely incorporated with your flour. So do this until it's beaded. And if you want to buy your crust, you can. I mean, some people want to purchase crust. They don't want to make their own. But I prefer making my own. I just like the way it tastes. It tastes better. And there's so many different ways to make cobbler crust. But this is the Real Kitchen for Real People recipe for a no-fail pie crust that was shared to me by a co-worker years ago, and it has never failed me yet. And so see how it's beating up? See? It's beating up. That's where you want it. You don't want any big clog of margarine in there. So just beat it up really well. Okay, now I'm going to add 1/3 cup of ice cold water. 1/3 of ice cold water that you have setting aside. You're going to add that to your flour batter. So I don't want the ice in there, but I want an ice cold water, and that'll be 1/3. And you add that in there to your flour, and then you just stir it up. And it'll form a ball, your dough ball. See how it looks? It's forming your dough ball. And if it didn't get quite enough, because it looked like I kind of wasted a little bit, let's put a little bit more. Wasted this some on the. Yeah, okay, that's consistency. See how it's kind of forming on its own? Okay, once it starts doing that, then you just take your hands, be sure to wash your hands before you start any kitchen project or any kitchen recipe. So we're going to make a ball out of this crust. See? It's a crust. Perfect. So And I can make these faster than I can going to the store, getting in line, getting a crust. I'm done. So I always keep these Crisco bars on hand in case I decide I want to make a pie. So you just put it together like this, kind of knead it together, and you have your crust. So what I do is take it and pull it apart, because I want the smaller part at the bottom of my pie pan, like that, and then the larger one will be at the top. So I've made 2 crusts out of that recipe, and it is so wonderful. And let me take a look at my peaches and pears with me. Okay, they're cooking. See, it's melted, and you can taste and add more nutmeg or more sugar based on your own taste. You don't have to use real sugar. You can use any kind of sugar. You can use raw sugar, sweet and low sugar, whatever sugar you sweeten your stuff with, just use it. So it's still kind of a little on the hard side. So I like it when my peaches are softer. I know some people put their peaches and all that in the crust since it's going to be cooking anyway in the oven, but I kind of like to give it a little head start. So I'm going to let that cook just a little bit more while I get my cobbler pan out. Okay, I got my Pyrex pan out that I'm going to put my cobbler in, and I want to lightly spray it, just lightly. Okay, I'm going to set my Pyrex container off while I get my crust ready to roll. So I want to sprinkle a little of that on the counter, clean counter, or if you have a pastry sheet, that's fine. Then you want to put a little bit on your rolling pin. Then I'm going to take the smaller ball and roll it out. Put a little flour on it, pat it down, and we're going to roll it out. Okay? Because that's going to be at the very bottom, so it don't have to be very large. Just enough to cover that bottom part, because we like crust. So you just want to kind of get it pretty thin. About like, let's do that a little bit more. Turn that over. Like that. Spread it out a little more. Don't have to be perfect or nothing. It's just going to the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to put this in the bottom of my Pyrex container. I'm going to put it in the bottom of here. And that's how it'll look in the bottom of your pan. Okay. Now I'm going to check on the fruit and see how it's coming along and see if it's ready to pour in. I'm going to let them cook a little bit longer. It's been like 2 minutes now. And in the meantime, turn on your oven on 350. And I'll be back with the fruit once it's done. Okay, my fruit is ready. See how it's broke up a little bit? Of course, the pears break up a little faster than the peaches. And what I'm going to do is, of course, you taste it and see if it's up to your taste bud, if it's sweet enough, or if it might need, you think it might need a little bit more nutmeg. But this is perfect. So I'm going to pour it into the Pyrex pan with the crust. And be careful because it is hot. You don't want it to splatter. how to look in your Pyrex pan or cobbler pan. And then I'll just, what I do is sprinkle just a little nutmeg on the top like that. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to roll out the top crust. I'll set this aside and grab my other pie crust. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to roll it out. Put a little flour on your counter and on your rolling pin. Okay. And then you want to roll this out so that it'll fit on the top of your pie, your cobbler. So just move it around. And my space is kind of tight right here, so do the best I can here. And like I said, you can add peach cobbler. You can do so many different things to it. You can add raisins. Sometimes I'll add raisins to it. Turn it over a little bit. Roll that up there. But today I thought I'd try the pears. So that's the beauty of cooking. It's so much fun because you can be experimental, try different things, and to meet your own taste buds. So this is for our dessert on Sunday. So this is what we're going to have for dessert. So now I'm just going to take this, fold it over like that, and then I'll put my peach cobbler that's in the Pyrex pan, and then I'll just lift the pie crust like this over the top and fold it over like that to where it's all in the covering your filling. And you can just do whatever you want with these sides. I'll just kind of push them down a little bit like that. Okay. And that's my peach pear cobbler. I will sprinkle just a little sugar on the top. And that's all it is to this peach pear cobbler. Now you might want to punch holes in it so it won't bubble over. Punch your holes in it so the steam will come out. But that is it for dessert. And I'm going to put it in the oven and let it cook for 45 minutes on 350. So I'll be back when it comes out of the oven. Okay, I've taken it out of the oven, 45 minutes, and I've spooned some of it out, and it is fabulous. So be sure to try it. If you like it, give me thumbs up and let me know what you think. And comment if you like. And also share it with a friend or family member. But this is the peach pear cobbler. Till next time, love, love.